Do you want the front of your Subaru to look like this without this happening? Subaru and other all-wheel drive front camber explained and more. Whenever you use this as the pivot point by only putting your front camber in at the very top, that actually slams your axle into your transmission and causes a lot of binding, and it makes your car hop down the road and all kinds of things. So now I have two different drawings, OEM camber, and then I have obviously a drastic negative camber. The mistake, as I said before, is everyone gets all of their camber from the top, and that's really bad. It pushes this axle this way. This right here is an example of like slotting. You can't say measure by this point and this point if you have a slotted top hole, because then that changes your camber up here. What I want to talk about right now is, let's say the distance from the center point right here down to where this joint flexes, which is right here. If you overlap this hole and slot the strut, then this becomes your pivot point that you want to measure to. Just say from the center of this to where this is, the now pivot point, since this is slotted, say this is 4 inches right here. So 4 inches on the top. And then from the center of this down to this pivot point is 6 inches. So with this 4 inches here and this 6 inches here that we measured, the bottom is 1.5 times the top. If you were to go just say -9, if you would go -3.5 on the top, 3.5 times 1.5, because of the difference here, that gives you 5.25, and if you add those together, that comes out to 8.75, which brings you pretty close to your -9. So instead of just going -9 on the top, you would go -3.5 on the top, -5.25. But that's if, for the sake of the argument here, these are the same as your vehicle. So then if you go really crazy camber, you go to -20, like I'm going this year. I'm actually in the -20s. You would obviously go -8 on top. Let's separate these. And you would go -12 on the bottom. 12 is 1.5 times of 8, and 8 and 12 is -20. So whenever I say go -12 on the bottom, bottom is out, top is in. So for all the people that never buy lower control arms, or only buy lower control arms for the rear, never buy upper control arms, which is like everyone in the world. Everyone just slots struts and does extended rear lower control arms, and all that does is it pulls the rear axles out and jams the front axles into the diff, and that's just going to wreak havoc on everything. Literally just measure from the center of your axle to your bottom pivot point, and then measure from the center of your axle to wherever your top pivot point is. You're not going to get very much out of the top of the strut anyway, other than maybe like a -3 if you have camber plates. Instead of just ovaling this hole out so big that the washer barely has anything to grab onto, and the first time you make a super hard corner, your wheel flops out and tears the whole fender off your car, don't just make the hole this big, like the upper hole in your strut. Like, you really need to be precision with this. If you're going to go so extreme that you can make 2 holes, then don't oval the hole out, just make 2 holes. Just drill a second hole, that way it is safer and you can adjust a little bit in there. Don't go drilling a hole that looks like this. Don't.